Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Senior Center Without Walls series. I'm Helen Fletcher, and I'm on the board of the MyChosen Seniors Association. And we operate the Seniors Resource Center where we are this morning with the Madills family. I'd like to acknowledge that MyChosen residents are living on, and this Zoom meeting is coming to you from the traditional territory of the Coast Salish people. I'd like to specifically acknowledge the territory of our neighbors at Shianu First Nation and to express appreciation for the good relationships that are being built between neighboring communities. Today's event is the story of the MyChosen Café and the family behind it. But before we start, I've got a few housekeeping items. The event is being recorded and we'll post it on our YouTube channel, MyChosen Seniors, so it can be seen later. And please keep your microphones muted during the interview. And after, you're welcome to ask questions and share your memories of the MyChosen Café. 35 years ago, a very young Mike and Shannon Madills opened a 32-seat cafe in the heart of MyChosen. As a result of their hard work, perseverance, and dreams, MyChosenites and visitors from near and far enjoy delicious food and friendly service. The cafe has grown to a 102-seat, uniquely designed country restaurant, as well as the Critter Corner, Pizza Hut, and Sugar Shack. Their daughter, Katlyn, is going to interview them so that we can learn about their journey and their memories of joys and bumps along the way. I'm going to turn it over to Katlyn, Shannon, and Mike. Enjoy.
Thank you, Helen.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming and watching. I'm Katlyn, and
I'm Shannon.
Hi, I'm Mike.
Thanks for joining us today.
so I guess we'll start at the beginning. You guys could tell us how you met.
How we met?
Yeah.
How we met?
Yeah.
Well, we met while working together at another restaurant when I was in high school, and he was a cook and I was a server. And
Romeo's Pizza.
yeah, we weren't going to mention that.
Oh, we're not going to?
But yeah, that's how we met. And yeah.
And how did you come to open a restaurant in MyChosen?
Do you want me to tell her? So I was dating Shannon and we wanted to rent mopeds. So we went downtown, we rented mopeds and it seemed boring downtown. So I threw the mopeds in the back of my truck and I brought them out here and we drove around East Souk and MyChosen, and then we came to this cafe.
The original MyChosen Café.
It was already open, but nobody was in it, and except the lady who ran it. And then we ordered a couple of hamburgers, and we saw her go across the street to the store and buy all the stuff to make the hamburgers. So we knew it wasn't doing well. And so we mentioned it to Shannon's mother, and she went and talked to the woman, and the woman was ready to pack her in, and she gave us a very good deal because she no longer had the energy to keep it going. And we borrowed some money from our family, and we went and bought it. And
I was 19 and you were 23 at the time. Yeah, we opened it in 1987, and we gained possession on my birthday, which was my 20th birthday.
It was 19th, wasn't it?
I think it was my 20th birthday. Yeah, that was we bought
19
it.
or 20.
19 or 20. No, but yeah. And we had a family dinner that night. All our family came that night before we opened. We were going to open the next day, and we had been cleaning it all day, getting it all ready for opening. And my family came and surprised us all, and we had a family dinner that night.
And we had breakfast, and I didn't know how to make breakfast
Oh yeah.
because I was a pizza chef. So Shannon's mother, who used to work for BC Ferries, came and helped me for the first few months, taught me how to make breakfast.
How to flip eggs without popping the
Yeah.
yolks. There's many popped yolks, lots of little arguments about popped yolks. I'm not serving that.
Yeah, yeah, lots of arguments, lots of long hours.
Yeah. Yeah,
How did the first day go? Do you remember that opening day?
first day.
I remember it was pretty good.
Yeah, our community welcomed us with open arms. We were so taken aback how people were waiting for us. They just embraced us, and we were full, right? We were so full. Remember, I had to have called my aunt and my mom to all help us because we were overwhelmed.
Did you have any staff at that point, or was it just you two on opening day? That's why you had to call people.
I don't think we had any
No
staff.
staff.
That's
No
first.
staff.
Just her aunt
No.
and her mother would come.
Mhm. And we didn't
Her
have-
aunt wasn't much help, but your mom,
There's one good story about that one.
she put some, I
She
think
put
sunlight in
liquid-
the dishwasher.
liquid sunlight into the dishwasher. That was probably on our
Kitchen was full of bubbles.
bubbles,
Yeah.
like up to my knees. And I was walking out of the kitchen with bubbles all around my feet, and there's a always a trail of bubbles all across the dining room. That's a funny story. But they used to do all our baking for us. They used to bake the pies.
At their house.
Yeah, at their house.
Get in,
at
because
the
there's
very
no room
beginning.
at the old cafe to
Yeah.
bake.
No, it was a tiny little kitchen, extremely tiny,
And how many seats was in the original cafe?
32 seats. And we had at that time, this is the funny thing, we had a smoking and a non-smoking section because that's the way it was back then. And you'd ask people, do you want to sit in smoking or non-smoking? And yet the smoking table was literally 2 feet away from the
So the
non-smoking.
whole building.
Yeah, everybody's full.
Dining room was full of smoke, yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Do you remember some of the regulars that used to come in and were at the,
I remember them all.
you had a
Mhm.
name for the table, what was?
I didn't make the name. I think it's, Tom Henry wrote a book that said the name was called the
Liar's
Liar's
Corner.
Corner Table,
Yeah.
and none of them ever lied.
They might have embellished. They might have
Why they
embellished.
call
They
it
didn't lie.
But they'd come in every day and they had a lot of stories. It's what made me love MyChosen. Talking to all those old guys all the time about the old times of MyChosen,
Mhm.
you know, in the 50s and their war stories. Those guys all went to war and then World War II, and they don't make them like that anymore.
Mhm. People like, do you want to mention names?
George King,
Wally Helgeson.
Wally Helgeson, who became a very good friend of mine,
Mhm.
taught me almost everything I know about building and animals.
Mhm. Bernie Nichols.
Bernie Nichols,
Leo Tordick.
Leo Tordick,
Mhm.
I mentioned old George,
George King.
George King, and
Yeah. Who's amazing.
Mrs. Shelkey, Donkey Lady,
Mhm. Yeah,
um,
lots, so
Mrs.
many.
Yates.
Yeah, Mrs.
She
Yates.
made a big impact on me.
Oh, yeah. We used to buy lettuce from Mrs. Yates. This is the side story that the lettuce, she'd bring us romaine that was, kid you not, this long, the heads were this big and they'd be so full of dirt and bugs.
Well, the roots were still on.
Yeah, and the roots were still attached. She'd come in the back door with all these romaines, and we'd buy them off of her, and they were great. They were fabulous. But Mike asked her one time, do you think maybe they could be less dirty or when you bring them in? And she said something like, if you want to eat organic, you got to eat some dirt and bugs. And that was it. So we didn't.
Never talked back to her.
No.
She's like 90 pounds and 5'2", and nobody talked back to her.
Yeah, she was, yeah, pretty special lady.
She had a Volkswagen van, it was always full of animals. And her boy, she'd hire boys from MyChosen. I know some of them, they're 60-year-old men now. She handed them a chainsaw when they were 10 years old, and you gotta cut this up. And I wish I was here then and was one of those boys that worked for her. It's kind of amazing, really.
Yeah. Okay.
So how long did it take before you realized that you needed to hire some employees and who were those people?
It was pretty quick. It was within, I think it was the new
I
year.
had the fire hall, so I
Yeah.
need Thursday nights off.
Yeah. Our first employee was our current still head chef, Troy Ashdown. He was our first employee for the kitchen, and that was because Mike also had to go twice a week and pick up orders, because when we called suppliers and said, you know, we needed to have deliveries for produce, meat, dairy, all that, they'd say, MyChosen, where's that? And they're like, never heard of MyChosen. No, we don't deliver to MyChosen. So ended up that he would have to go on a run and go buy everything in his vehicle.
66 Mustang.
Yeah, ruined it.
Sold pretty quick after, yeah.
Yeah,
Got it.
got a truck, didn't
Got
you?
a truck, because, yeah, the Mustang didn't work for that kind of business. Yeah, so Troy was our first one, and then soon after, we hired our first server, which was Tracy Knight, which was also a good, her name was Tracy Smith at that time, a good friend of ours, friend of the family, and she was with us for so many years, and we're still very close to this day. And then we also hired Chris, Troy's wife, who is still with us. So both Chris and Troy have been working for us for 35 years. That's pretty incredible.
I worked
they're
with Troy
part of
at
the
Romeo's
family, yeah.
before that.
They're our family, yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, they both came from Romeo's too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you allowed to say people's names on here? Like,
Well, we did now, yeah,
uh,
as long as we're saying good stuff about it. Okay, next one, Katie.
Okay, so that's the little cafe. When did you realize that you were outgrowing the space? How many years? What made you make that decision?
I think it was about the 8th year.
got a tip with the landlord.
Yeah, the 8th year, we realized that we would love, our dream was to have our own space so that we were not paying rent to somebody else. We were instead paying off our own building. And it was an opportunity came to us. The property that we're currently sitting on now came for sale. And it was in the official community plan to be the front acre to be rezoned as commercial. And so when we looked at buying it, we thought, oh, it had the house on it as well. And we thought, oh,
20-year-old.
it was, yeah, it's now 120 years old. It was way out of our price range. And but it ended up that it was meant to be, because we put in an offer that was much lower than what the asking price was, and they accepted it. And they accepted it. The original owners were extremely grateful to them, because I think that they just wanted us to see, they wanted to see us have that house and see it carry on and become what it is today. Yeah.
That was the Havers family. Are you allowed to say that?
Yeah, I just did. Yeah.
I think they were there from the 60s or
Mhm.
early 70s.
And we knew one of their sons, so because we had worked with them previously, so.
And
Yeah.
that was probably around like 1995. You bought that property?
Oh, we lived in the house for
No,
2 years before we
before.
built the restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
And we
it's-
used to let the regulars would park over in the trees there
Mhm.
because there wasn't enough parking at the old
Mhm.
restaurant.
So the process we ended up going with, we owned the house for a few years, and then we got petitions signed by our customers to have it removed. We had to have it removed out of the ALR to have it zoned C1 to be able to build our building. And it went to public hearing, it had 3 readings. We stood in front of probably 100 people in the municipal hall, or the
bigger
community
one was
hall,
that?
the community hall. That was scary because neither of us were comfortable with public speaking, and there was lots of controversy at that time about cutting down trees, which had to be done to accommodate it.
And you're still so young, you were like,
Yeah.
what, 22,
And it's
23?
before you were born.
Yeah,
So
like probably 24, 25.
Yeah, yeah,
26.
yeah.
But one thing we were lucky about was that two of the girls that worked for us, their dad was a developer and he helped us build it. I don't think we would have got done without Rex.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, he helped us. Definitely. We didn't know how to start, so it was good. Yeah,
And the whole time you were building it, you were still operating the little one too.
absolutely.
It was
Yeah.
like 2 days or
We were
something.
shut down
They
for
moved
2
all the
days.
equipment over, opened the next one up.
We didn't have anything new in our new building or our current building. When we built it, we couldn't afford to buy brand new equipment or brand new tables and chairs. So we were constantly going to auctions of restaurants that had shut down and filled the whole place with used equipment and chairs and serviceware. And gradually over the years, of course, we've had to replace them multiple times.
Some of it's still there. The really
Yeah.
good stuff.
And when we opened the new place, obviously our theme and character is to have it be country, rural, to fit in with this community, which is dear to us. And we also were so blessed to have regular customers that had been with us for years show up with artifacts to display for everybody to enjoy.
George King brought a lot.
Mhm.
Jim and Ardella Russell brought a lot, and those things are still up there.
Yeah, and everybody to this day, they enjoy looking at them because it's a little slice of history there that never changes. Mhm.
Do you remember the first few days in the new building? How did it go making that transition?
I remember the fire alarm went off the first day and I went and ripped all the guts out of it. It shut off. Then the fire guy came back and he's like, why'd you do that? Didn't want it ringing during lunch hour.
I don't remember that. I might have blanked it out on purpose.
Well, we had to change the sensors. We're 120 degrees, but it was more than 120 degrees in the top of the kitchen. So then he put
Hmm.
300-degree ones in.
Wow. Yeah,
And it was fine after that.
I think it was busy. I always remember it was busy.
Well received.
Well received, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
People were
waiting.
excited and
Yeah.
waiting, as we were too. Yeah. It's good. Mhm.
And over the years, it got busier every year.
Yes.
You started delivering pizzas in the
Mm.
back of the kitchen.
Mhm.
How did that come about?
I always loved pizza.
Still do.
I still do. Yeah. And, we bought a cafe, so we did the cafe thing. I learned how to cook it now, but I still just always loved pizza. And so we started doing it, and we've been through quite a few
Changes with our
changes in
pizza
it. I
shop.
think we moved it 4 times.
Mhm.
And now I think this time it's gonna stay where it
That's
is.
exactly where it needs to
Yeah.
be. Mhm. Yeah, originally our pizza, we ran it from the upstairs kitchen. And it became too tight up there, so then we moved it to our lower area kitchen, and then we moved it back upstairs so that it would operate more efficiently, because we're like, oh, that didn't work. And then we moved it into the space where we currently are with the pizza shop. Originally, we had tenants in the lower area of our business,
Mhm.
our building
There
as
was a
well.
furniture store there,
Yeah.
country furniture.
Yeah. And then we had a wellness center as well. And we've had a gift shop upstairs. And just gradually over the years, we've expanded and evolved that when they no longer wanted to renew their lease, we just took that space over and and found something that would complement our business.
And that's how the Sugar Shack came about too, was when the Chosen Country Crafters didn't want to renew their lease.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah,
yeah.
and you were a big part of that.
Yeah.
The pizza was my dream. The Sugar Shack was there.
Yes, it was.
My younger daughter, Selena, who's not here,
Yeah,
busy cutting hair somewhere right now.
yeah, she's now a hairdresser. Yeah, she's a great hairdresser. Yeah, that was, the Sugar Shack was our baby. We still love it.
I
Yeah,
love it too.
yeah,
Yeah.
you love the cinnamon buns.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's changed a little bit over the course of this past few years with COVID. It's not quite the same that we originally designed it and built it to be, unfortunately. But we're still here and it's doing well, and we managed to keep all of our employees there. So we have more retail vendors now, and it's all handcrafted, locally handcrafted items that we have there now, instead of our little tables and chairs that were so cute for people to sit in and enjoy. And people ask us all the time if we're going to bring the tables back, and unfortunately at this point we're still at a point where we need to keep the retail stuff in there and
To
maybe
pay the
one day
bills.
pay the bills. Yeah, yeah.
And then there was Critter Corner. Where did you get the
Oh.
idea for that?
Camping on
Yeah,
a-
we're
on a-
camping in California, I think.
and we
There was a campsite I saw.
is it
that
campsite
had
or a
western
restaurant?
Town. No, it's a
Yeah,
campsite. and
Camps.
We just loved it. And at that time, people like to go to McDonald's better than MyChosen Café. And I was like, why do people want to go to McDonald's? Well, it's, once I had kids, I figured out it wasn't the McDonald's food, it was the play place is why everybody went there. So I thought, well, we'll get something better than McDonald's play place. And it's worked out pretty good. The kids, I got adults coming there talking to me. Yeah, I came here when I was a little kid and I saw the chickens. And so it just worked out pretty well, I think.
Mhm. And we just got 2 new donkeys. If anybody wants to come visit them, we have 3 donkeys now. We just adopted 2 young females. So our male is no longer lonely. He's getting bossed around by the females. They've taken over quite quickly. But yeah, so that's
Where did the original, we started with just goats, didn't we? Where did they come from?
Betty Spears.
No, before that, there was a guy out in the Highlands that brought me the first 2. Remember the
Oh,
mean ones with
right.
the horns?
Her name was Betty.
Betty, yeah. And then Betty Spears, after Betty Spears helped me a lot getting it all going and
Getting more
running it
goats.
properly. She knew a lot about
Mhm.
goats.
We've learned a lot about animals, or you have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
because you had no farming experience before that. You
No.
grew up in town.
No, I grew up on Cedar Hill and Hillside, so there's no animals around there, just dogs and raccoons.
Yeah,
But people like Betty and Wally,
yeah,
I didn't know how to build a fence even, until I met Wally.
yeah.
So I owe a lot to him.
Mhm. You've learned a lot, yeah.
Let me see. What do you think your greatest challenges over the years have been?
Mm.
Stress is good.
Stress is definitely a big one. Managing stress, absolutely, through ups and downs throughout the course of any business year. You have your peak busy times, and then you have your times like right now that are slow. And managing business levels with staff, definitely, throughout all of those. We've never had to lay off employees until the pandemic happened, and we rehired them all that wanted to come back anyhow. So that's always a stressful time when you have people that have been with you for a lot of years, and you know that they count on you for their income to support their families, pay their bills, their rent, mortgages. And when you have times that are slower, it's a heavy weight that we wear, because we want to keep them, we need to keep them employed. We know that first they're our priority is our staff.
Yeah. It was pretty hard with COVID. I remember our day that we finally made the call that things were looking so bad that we were shutting down completely. It had been days of the news changing and different restrictions that we had to do. We took tables out. That
was crazy.
Yeah, all sorts of
changing every day.
Yeah, different sanitizing procedures to try and stay open, and then we realized we couldn't. So I remember we came down and we told the staff that was it, that next day we were going to be closed, and
while in tears.
Yeah,
all of us, including our staff, crying.
Yeah, we sat down and had a drink, and we didn't know if we were going to reopen. It was all up in the air.
So uncertain. Yeah. And
So we started a garden.
what followed, that's what followed. We're like, okay, we don't know when and if this is going to end. So yeah, we got all of our kids, or we wanted them all close to us. So we had our son and his fiance and our daughter and her fiance all moved back home, and because we wanted to have our family bubble, because we couldn't imagine not being with them. And Mike built me a garden. We all gardened and planted the most beautiful garden. I haven't been able to figure it out. Lots of donkey poo. Yeah.
And then only my son for groceries, and he had it all figured out how to where and all that.
Yeah, he had to work. The rest of us were
unemployed
because we all MyChosen Café.
Yeah.
So he bought us groceries and stuff.
Mhm. But
It was nice though, just to be at home with your family for a long time.
that was special.
Yeah.
I
Not
just
good for the business, but good for the family.
Yeah, I wish that at the time, even though we enjoyed it so much, I wish that I could have just fully embraced it and not had the stress at the same time of worrying about
It
all
was
the uncertainty and knowing about all the staff and how they were counting on us.
Yeah.
And the bills, some bills keep coming. You don't have food bills and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of bills still kept coming,
Mhm.
even though we were closed. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
we had to get open as soon as we could.
Our first move was the Sugar Shack because we ran that with
All ourselves,
and
just family.
Chris and Troy. They
And
were the
Chris and Troy.
first ones to come back too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we opened the Sugar Shack, 3 days a week for starts?
Yeah, I think so. It's Friday,
And-
Saturday, Sunday.
And we were doing some take-home meals. Troy would prepare soups and shepherd's pie and different take and bake meals. And our customers, thank you so much. We're so supportive of throughout that whole thing. Everybody was coming into the Sugar Shack and always, oops. Didn't know I was gonna get emotional.
Yeah, we felt so supported by the community. I remember it was my sister and I working the front and my mom, but she was doing baking along with Chris down in the basement. They would bring all the goods up and we were kind of the front, but people were so appreciative that we were even open, and we were appreciative that they were there. And it was.
Yeah, it's not good to whine when we're in MyChosen. A lot of other restaurants downtown
Oh, yeah.
had it a lot rougher than we did.
Mhm.
I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here we are. We're all
We made it
open.
through.
We made it through. We're back open, and I ripped off it last week. There was some circles there in the hallway that, the ones that
Please stand here.
directional, please stand here or this way. And gosh, that felt so good to rip those signs off that floor. Yeah. But anyhow, thank you to our customers for sticking behind us. Mhm.
Did we burn off our hour yet?
Okay, we'll go to happier note. What have been your greatest successes, do you think?
Our kids.
Our kids, yeah, 100%. Yeah, our kids,
We're
definitely.
very proud of them. We have an accountant here. We have a refrigerator mechanic and a artist / hairdresser. And we're very proud of all of them.
Mhm. And we managed to do that all while running the business.
Yeah.
And at most times, we have anywhere from, 70 to 100 staff. With all, yes, I know, I see the surprise on your face. Yeah, that's how many employees we have.
Surprise.
Between all the our 3 different departments. Of course, we employ a lot of part-time students. So they're maybe only 2 days a week, but we do have a lot of full-time employees that have been with us for numerous years. And it's a big job, just the human resource end of it, taking care of all of our staff, answering questions daily, making sure they feel supported, appreciated, and valued. That's important to us. So it's a big job.
Yeah. There's a reason our staff stay around for so long. Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess our biggest accomplishment, our children also, I guess, just being proud of what we've accomplished step by step.
Staying married.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chefs can be temperamental.
Oh, yeah.
Not you though.
Oh, no. Not at all. That's why we got him out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
He's much happier shoveling the donkey poo and cleaning the.
I look forward to going to work in the morning now.
Yeah. But yeah, probably evolving everything that evolved just naturally. I can't say that it probably was planned the way that it was.
No.
It just evolved naturally.
I know a lot of people didn't like the idea that we built this big building, and it really wasn't our plan to have what we got. We planned to have a few more seats, and
It grew.
it grew. It was literally drawn on a napkin. And me and Shannon went to some restaurant out in Cordova Bay, and I liked it. It had a hairdresser. It was an old church with a restaurant, and so I said, "Lady, do you mind if we copy you?" And she,
The shape of the building.
yeah. So we drew it all out, and then we took it.
To an architect.
Rex found us an architect to draw it, and then when we got into it, they're like, "The property goes down, so you may as well just put a basement in, because it's not going to cost you any more than filling it all up and not having a basement." So we put it in. We had no plans for the basement at all.
It's that empty.
The
for a
cooks
long
used to
time.
play ping pong down there.
Yeah, the
and
kids were, once we
kids,
had the
yeah,
kids,
yeah.
they were riding their tricycles and everything downstairs, because that was, I'd be working and I'd, once in a while I'd go down, give them some chicken fingers or some
Make sure they
food.
weren't fighting with each other.
Yeah, beating each other up. We had a TV down there and.
We
Yeah.
always did plan on the suite upstairs, and it was a suite for quite a while.
Mhm,
But recently it's become the office
mhm,
in the last few years.
It
mhm.
housed a lot of staff before then.
Yeah,
Yes,
we usually have staff living up there.
Yeah. Yes. And we've, I think also another, to that same question is seeing, people that we employed as young kids. Even the evolution of them just being students here in this school in MyChosen Elementary, when it was MyChosen Elementary, coming across to the little restaurant, our original restaurant, with their note from their parents saying that they were allowed to get fries at lunchtime because they had to have a note to be able to come over to our restaurant to get something for lunch. And I know how special that was to those kids to be able to come over at lunchtime and get those things. But those kids then grew up, became employees of ours, and dear to our heart because a lot of them stayed with us for so long. And now, over the course of years, we even employed their kids, and it's just the generations to see
And
that.
the ones that could stick it out in the dish pit for a while, they're all very successful now.
Yes, it
Like,
builds
that's
character.
a hard job,
Yeah.
the dish pit at MyChosen.
A lot of dishes.
Lot of dishes.
But you passed.
It definitely is a position that builds character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Anything else?
I don't know, should we open it up for questions or?
Yeah.
So I think that Shannon said it so well. I wrote it down when she said it. She said it's like a slice of history. And they've just given us a slice of history, names that I hadn't thought of for a long time. She mentioned, and also it's a wonderful story, a heartwarming story of a great community participation and community support. But also what came across to me so clearly was the respect and appreciation you have. Now you're going to make me cry for the community of MyChosen. So if there's any questions, we would love to.
Yeah, I have a question. Can I jump in?
Sure,
You
go
bet.
ahead, yeah.
Yeah, I'm David. I live in MyChosen, and my wife and I have been coming to your wonderful establishment for almost 20 years.
Wow.
We've never had a bad meal ever. We've
Thank you.
always had good service. So it's almost a rhetorical question. I'll ask you this. What do you see as the secret to success?
There's like three things, there's hard work, luck, good location.
Yeah. And consistency, definitely. You have to be consistent. And our staff, definitely. Without our staff, we wouldn't be where we are today. I think Helen earlier was saying about how all of our staff are always so friendly and welcoming and do such a great job, and they do. We have been good at selecting our staff, and we've been very grateful that they stick around. So that creates consistency. And
When we first started, they were just all our friends and some of my sisters. and
yeah,
my
lots of
brother.
family. We've employed lots of family.
Yeah.
That's a good thing and a bad thing sometimes. Yeah. Sorry, did that answer your question, David?
Yeah, I'm not surprised at your answer because we get the sense that your staff are really happy. Anytime we've been served, they seem to be engaged. They seem to be in a good mood, even though they are very busy. We were talking to one server just recently, and she said that the reason she's working there is because she was a customer for a while and realized, hey, wouldn't this be a great place to work? So you had a customer that decided, hey, I think I'll apply for a job. So that says a lot right there.
Yeah, that's often the case. When they come and apply, and during the interview process, we ask them like, why, what do you know about us, and why are you wanting to apply here? And often that's the answer is, I've been coming here and it just feels like home to me. And this is why I want to work here, because it feels good.
Yeah, the staff are always so happy and always they seem like they get along so well, which is rare in restaurants, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the main question I had. I'll let others jump in, but I really wish you all the success in the coming years. You deserve it. You're really a down-to-earth group of people, I can tell, and hats off to you.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you very much.
I have a memory I want to share from, it was last Christmas. I had the wonderful joy of being able to deliver some turkey dinners that you guys offered to people who were in need or couldn't get out, were kind of housebound. And it was one of the most wonderful, beautiful experiences I've had at Christmas, driving all these places I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
MyChosen is so spread out. And even though I couldn't get close to people, I'd keep a distance, like talking from balconies, and I'd only seen them by email or talked by phone. And it was just so touching. So thank you for being able to have that experience. I think I'm going to cry.
I
Really
enjoyed that
beautiful.
too.
Yeah.
True Christmas spirit. Yeah.
Some of the people didn't know it was coming. Their neighbors phoned them and ordered it for them.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so it'd be a whole person that just had no idea their food was coming, right?
Yeah.
It
It was pretty special.
It was fun, yeah.
And we had staff volunteer also to do the deliveries, and it was so cute because they'd dressed up like elves, and it was like just such a great feeling to see the smile on their face. Thank you. Yeah. Any other questions?
Anybody else want to jump in? Raise your hand or just unmute yourself. If you're having trouble unmuting, just turn your camera on and I'll help you.
No. We didn't mention that Mike, a story when we first bought our property, before we actually built the new restaurant, we had lived in our house, and we wanted to have a party, have our friends over, and we thought, hey, it would be fun to play volleyball. And he got talking to somebody in our little restaurant. I guess we had just opened that, and they had mentioned Keith Charlson, I think it was his name. He said, oh, I know where you can get a volleyball net, the MyChosen Fire Department. And Mike's like, oh, well, really? I can borrow that? And he goes, no, not unless you join the fire department. So 14 years volunteer service in the fire department is what he gave, just to get that volleyball net. But that was a huge,
Still some of my best
Yeah,
memories are from that fire department.
it created such a network for us. Being new into MyChosen at that time, all our kids' friends when they were little, all were related to that fire department. It was a great experience. So I didn't share that.
Yeah, that was a good story.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
No.
Then,
I think that might be it.
okay, thank you so much. The Madell family, I know that I think I gave Shannon some terror when I first asked her if she would be interested in doing this. And she- But the lovely presentation. Our next event is in 2023, January 19th. And it's the story of the MyChosen Community House and the people behind it. So please tell your family and friends about it. And we'll, on our calendar of events, we'll post this event. And we'd like to hear your feedback on the series, if you have other ideas. So please be sure to fill out the survey with your feedback. And that's in the link is in the chat box. It really helps us to know what you liked and would like us to do more of or less of. So thank you very much. Everyone enjoy the Christmas season ahead. And thanks very much to the Madell family.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Cory and
Thank
Helen.
you.
Thank you for
Thank you
and
very
thank you for
much.
everybody for tuning in.
Thank you. That was lovely.
Great.